My wife eagerly joined an all-female feminist social circle and, as if possessed by a new ideology, began berating me nonstop, calling me a controlling a-hole, demanding an open marriage while she neglected and mistreated our children. So I finally filed for divorce, only to discover that a single misplaced clause in the paperwork would inadvertently destroy her career, drain her bank account, and cost her full custody of our kids, effectively ruining her life in ways I never intended. I was all in on feminism, until I married my wife. At first, things felt perfect. Then she found a new crowd of friends. These women weren't merely strong-willed. Nothing was ever good enough. Hold the door for them, and you're sexist, implying women are helpless. Don't hold it, and you're disrespectful and entitled. Walk behind them. You're a creep. Walk ahead. You're an egotistical jerk. I thought my wife would stand apart from that drama, but she dove right in, and it cost her far more than our marriage. It began with little fights. After I pulled a 14-hour shift, I'd collapse on the couch and forget to rinse my plate. Suddenly, I was the poster child for every unpunished abuser in history. If I sat down with our kids to help with schoolwork, she'd corner me and declare me inherently problematic, accusing me of mansplaining. The sweet, affectionate partner I married was melting away, replaced by someone cold and antagonistic. Then came a moment I can't shake. I was playing video games with our son and went to high-five him. He flinched. My gut clenched. When I mentioned it, she brushed it off, calling it my fragile male ego. According to her, he never flinched. I was just lying to flatter myself. Needless to say, that explanation brought me zero comfort. From that day on, I watched both our daughter and our son more closely than ever. They became quieter, more subdued. My son even started wetting the bed. My focus shifted entirely to protecting them, rather than trying to fix a marriage that felt like it was slipping away. One afternoon, I decided to come home early. I saw an unfamiliar car in the driveway and felt my chest tighten. Instead of confronting her on the spot, I drove to a nearby diner and sat there for hours, trying to steady myself. When I finally returned, I asked, "Who did you bring home today while I was at work?" My voice cracked. Am I not allowed a life outside this house? Her silence made one thing crystal clear. She didn't give a damn about our family. That's when I decided to revoke her privacy. I grabbed her phone, only to find most messages wiped clean. But one thread survived. A friend was coaching her on how to propose an open marriage, suggesting she present it as my idea too. Infidelity was obvious, but more than that, I needed to know who was so reckless with our kids' safety. The next morning at breakfast, she casually said, "I've been reading about polyamory. What do you think of an open relationship?" I was ready. My phone was in my pocket, recording every word. I looked her dead in the eye and asked, "Who is he?" Her confident mask crumbled. She admitted to 2 one-night stands with married men, both parents, while I worked. She forced our kids to sleep on hardwood floors so she could be with them in the next room, loud enough for the children to hear. That explained their anxiety. Then came an even darker revelation. She planned to start sleeping with a coworker because, in her words, "It's good for me." There was no hint of regret, only defiance. She wasn't confessing. She was declaring independence from our vows. As if that weren't enough, she tried to play matchmaker, saying, "My friend thinks you're hot." I wouldn't go near that woman with a 10-foot pole. I managed to stay calm as I asked for her phone back. She unlocked it while she stepped into the bathroom, and I locked myself in my home office. I ran recovery software and uncovered explicit chats, meetup plans, and mocking remarks about me and the life we'd built. I even installed a discreet monitoring app before returning her phone. Then I told her to leave. Her reaction wasn't remorse, it was outrage. She accused me of being controlling, just like every other man who held women back. She claimed I never really loved her, only wanted to own her. She insisted I accept this new normal. All the while, I quietly packed her things. I stood at the front door, luggage in hand, until she had nothing left to say. Then she stormed off to her parents' house. As she descended the stairs, I called after her. "You're single now. Do whatever you want. I'm done controlling you. My lawyer will be in touch in January." Before she could respond, I shut and locked the door, my hands trembling with finality. Through the monitoring app, I watched Kayla boast in a group chat. Her friends praised her strength, joked my divorce threat was empty, and predicted I'd come crawling back. Even more chilling, they discussed how she could falsely accuse me of domestic abuse to secure her future, detailing what to say, how to act, and even how to fake minor injuries. Terrified for my kids and myself, I immediately ordered security cameras for our home. I realized I had to document everything from that moment on. Then the bomb dropped. Kayla texted her affair partner to meet at a hotel, complete with the name and room number. I tracked down his wife on Facebook and shared all the details, including their exact location. She thanked me, cut the call short, and hours later sent a video of the confrontation in the hotel room. "You do this to me again. To the kids again," she yelled. "I told you we were done. If you ever do it again." Before she could finish, she caught Kayla filming her getting dressed on the bed. The sight made me physically ill. Seeing my wife's betrayal in vivid detail hit me far harder than any confession ever could. Then the wife slapped Kayla and tore into her for helping wreck another family. I messaged Kayla that I'd seen the video and never wanted her anywhere near me again. My whole body went numb, as though I'd been plunged into ice water. The woman in that clip was unrecognizable, not just caught in a compromising position, but as a person. Afterward, Kayla acted strangely, as if our marriage were some competition she was winning. She told friends I'd be begging her to come back within a week, completely blind to the fact that I was filing for divorce. There was no remorse, no acknowledgement of the pain she'd caused, only schemes to come out on top. I joined her family's WhatsApp group and announced we were divorcing because of her infidelity, thanked them for welcoming me into their lives, and then left the chat. Their calls and messages flooded in, but I couldn't bear to replay the details. Later, after I told my parents everything, my father messaged Kayla that she wouldn't be welcome for Christmas. I'm staying with them now, surrounded by childhood mementos that offer tiny comforts amid the chaos. My boss has given me leave until mid-January, recognizing I'm not in any condition to work. From afar, I've watched Kayla spiral, frantic chats with friends who feed her toxic advice, urging her to outmaneuver me. She's lost her family, her marriage, and still seems oblivious. She even showed up at my parents' house, demanding to celebrate Christmas with us. My dad's face went red with fury, and he threatened to call the police if she didn't leave. Between sobs, I've been Googling divorce lawyers. At first, I operated on autopilot, shock carrying me through arrangements. But the full weight hit me when I arrived here. Nothing makes sense anymore. How could someone change so completely? Was our entire marriage a lie? Could I have done anything differently? I replied to Kayla only twice. It doesn't matter what you say, you're not my wife. My wife would never destroy my heart and soul while smiling. We're done. You have no right to demand anything from me ever again. You're not my wife. I don't know you. My wife would never condemn our children to grow up in a broken home. You seem proud of what you've done. My wife was loving, caring, my best friend. You're a self-obsessed, self-absorbed abomination. After that, her messages stopped, perhaps reality finally sinking in. But the pain is still unbearable. Sometimes I stare at old family photos, tracing Kayla's face and wondering if she ever really existed, or if this person was always inside her, waiting to emerge. This has been the worst Christmas ever. In a moment of weakness, I told the kids that mommy doesn't want to be a family anymore, that she's choosing other men, and that we're divorcing. They were devastated. My daughter cried herself to sleep in my arms. My son just sat there, silent and confused. I'm so grateful my parents are here to support us, but I'm an absolute wreck, barely holding it together for my children. I know I'll never go back to Kayla. Her callousness is unforgivable, and I feel utterly lost. Was she mentally ill? Did she always have this side? Or did something change her? Those questions keep me awake at night under my childhood bedroom ceiling. Sorry for the ramble. I just needed to get this out somewhere people might understand. Update. So much has happened since my last post. I wish I could say I've been strong, but I've been a sobbing mess. 2 nights ago at 3 a.m., my father found me on the bathroom floor, hugging my knees and rocking. I'd been obsessing over Kayla's messages until I saw something that shattered me completely. She described in cruel detail how our marriage, and especially our children, were burdens holding her back from reaching her full potential. She called motherhood a patriarchal trap designed to keep women submissive. What broke me was that she never gave a single real example of how we oppressed her. Only blanket accusations rooted in gender politics, not our lived experience. The truth is, I've never once held her back from anything. I covered every expense she couldn't afford on her part-time wage: tuition, rent, groceries. I supported her hobbies, cheered on her dreams, even when she quit class after class halfway through the semester. I showed love every day, romantic dates, surprise gifts, whatever she needed. I stepped in as the primary caregiver for our kids whenever she demanded me time. If that's oppression, then sign me up. I finally collapsed from sheer emotional exhaustion. When I came to, my 3 closest friends, let's call them Junior, Jack, and Caleb, were in the kitchen with my dad cooking dinner. They've been in my life since we were kids. Junior, an Army vet who lost his forearm in Afghanistan, was the first I called. We supported him when his wife walked out on him during recovery. He even set up a Zoom with his counselor to help me sort through my own feelings. He explained that part of my identity, husband and partner, died the moment our marriage did. Now I feel phantom pain where that piece of me used to be. The marriage you thought you had is gone, he said. You're grieving a death because it is one. Jack, now a security firm executive, quietly reached out through his company's top-tier law firm. He's footing my legal bill as repayment for all the times I took beatings from bullies defending him. You had my back, he told me, squeezing my shoulder. It's my turn. Caleb, a private school teacher and father of 7, has been keeping my kids looked after so I can breathe. His oldest daughters read bedtime stories to Briar and Milo each night, giving them a bit of normalcy in this chaos. Yesterday started with an STD screening. The results came back: chlamydia. I need another test in 6 months for HIV and other infections with longer incubation. In that moment, my self-pity flipped into pure rage. The doctor's sympathetic glance as he handed me the prescription only stoked my sense of violation. Gloves off. I'm going for full custody, and I'll fight to leave her with nothing. My lawyer tracked down the ex-husband of Kayla's so-called feminist friend, the one who boasted about ruining his life. We spoke on WhatsApp. He described being homeless, barely seeing his kids for 4 years while she lived in their home. His voice broke, recalling sleeping in his car. My attorney suggested we file a preemptive restraining order. Kayla's virulent anti-male tirades could damage our son's development. So we're compiling evidence: her abandonment of our children, erratic behavior, and extreme views that threaten their well-being. I had a Zoom with Kayla yesterday, our first contact since she showed up at my parents' house. She looked more dead than I've ever seen her. Caked makeup, plunging neckline. So bizarre for what should have been a serious divorce discussion. She tried to bait me into rage. I stayed calm, just like my lawyer advised, and even told her I was recording our conversation. She started rambling about different penis types and how she couldn't wait to experiment once restrictions lifted. Her eyes darted off camera, like she had backup, but I steered us back to divorce logistics and custody. She snapped that I was boring and pathetic, muting herself to confer with friends, then unmuting to hurl slurs. After 45 minutes of this circus, I said fine, contested divorce it is. By the way, you gave me chlamydia, I added. Unlike you, I've been faithful. She just scowled, accused me of infecting her, an absurd claim given my fidelity. I sent the recording to my lawyer. He called it gold. Since I own her phone plan, we can use her chat logs in court. Her digital trail will be her downfall. It still stings, but I'm reframing it as phantom pain. I've shed self-pity, and I'm fighting to protect myself and my kids. We'll get them therapy. Kayla will become a distant memory. I'll build a new life. Update, 2 weeks later. People keep telling me how strong or victorious I am. Reading back my posts, I see why my anger comes off as bravado. The truth is, I'm not winning, I'm mourning. I wish none of this had happened. I wanted a stable family, a comfortable future with Kayla raising our kids. No one wins here. I lose, Kayla loses, and the kids lose the only world they knew. I still can't sleep. When I do, nightmares drench me in sweat. Kayla laughing with other men, our kids crying out for their mother as I stand helpless. Sometimes I wake up reaching for her, then reality hits. Today the hospital called. I'm still Kayla's emergency contact and she's on my insurance. She was in an altercation, lost several teeth, and broke her jaw. She needs observation. When I got there with her parents, we learned some of her new friends beat her after rumors spread that she'd leaked those incriminating chat logs. The irony, the people who egged on her betrayal turned on her with violence. She still doesn't realize I'm monitoring her phone. I'll keep paying her insurance and phone bill until the divorce is final. I won't believe it's over until I hold those papers. Part of me still wants to protect her. After 11 years of love, it doesn't just vanish. But she's an adult whose choices are dangerous and erratic. I have to shield my children. She came to ask if she could move back in, voice muffled through wired jaws. I told her no way. Her mother won't help unless she gets and stays clean for a year. They'll take her in under strict conditions. No phone, no visitors, mandatory counseling. For a moment, I saw regret when she whispered, "I'm sorry I ruined everything." But I don't buy it. She wouldn't meet my eyes, only stared at the hospital wall behind me. Despite everything, it hurts to see her broken. I wanted to save her, but she chose this path. I need to protect our kids first. Strangely, she never asked about the court date or her beaten friend, only seemed annoyed we showed up. Her father's face mirrored mine, disappointment, confusion. I still don't understand why she destroyed our world and caused so much pain for fleeting thrills. I'm going completely no contact until she's been clean for a long time. I just can't handle this craziness anymore. Update 1 month later. A lot of you have been asking for updates. I meant to post yesterday, but didn't have the energy. I'm depressed, exhausted, barely sleeping, and plagued by nightmares. Some days I can barely drag myself out of bed, forcing myself to keep going only because my kids need me. The good news is my kids are doing better. My dad has been incredible. Last weekend we went skiing at his cabin. Just him, me, and the kids. It was amazing watching them learn, faces glowing with excitement as they mastered the bunny slope. For those brief moments, I almost forgot everything that's happened. I still have no contact with Kayla. I did, however, speak with one of her friends, the one who was critically injured. She woke up but is in terrible shape. Her nurse said no one has visited her. Her family refused. The ward was eerily quiet, just beeping machines and the smell of antiseptic. Worried that whoever attacked Kayla might come after me or the kids, I asked to see this friend. She surprised me by opening our conversation with an offer of sexual services for $20. Her eyes were vacant, her skin pale and bruised. I countered with $50 for information instead. What she revealed crushed me. All these so-called feminist friends are hardcore drug addicts. One of them, the one who bragged about ruining her ex, pulled Kayla into their circle against everyone else's wishes and introduced her to meth. They sell sex to feed their habits, hiding behind feminist rhetoric to protect their fragile egos. Kayla bought into their ideology at first, but quickly got hooked on meth. Soon she was doing the same thing. selling herself to pay for drugs. Learning that the woman I loved more than anything had become a prostitute to fuel her addiction destroyed me. It also explained why she was only interested in money during our divorce. She needed cash for pills. Each revelation felt like another stabbing to my already wounded heart. No one visited that friend in the hospital because she'd stolen from, cheated, and lied to everyone. She told me she was sorry to have survived and had no hope. I cried. Not for her, but for what had happened to Kayla and the terrible choices that led her here. I'm not excusing Kayla's actions. She played with fire and lost everything. But understanding her addiction explains her bizarre behavior, the personality shifts, the irrational rage, the complete disregard for those who loved her. Many people on Reddit with experience around addicts warned me Kayla might try to kill herself as her world fell apart. They were right. She deliberately attempted an overdose. I discussed this with her father, and we agreed to monitor her closely. Then, while at the cabin on Saturday, I received what looked like a suicide note. She confessed to her addiction and prostitution, said she'd let everyone down, and hinted it was her only way out. The words were rambling and disjointed, but the intent was clear. I immediately called her dad and shared her location via our tracking app. He found her unconscious on a park bench and rushed her to the hospital. She was hypothermic and barely alive. If he'd arrived even a minute later, I can't bear to think about what might have happened. Despite everything, I didn't want her to die. The mother of my children, the woman I once built a life with. I wanted her to heal, even if we could never be together again. They've put her on methadone, and her father is now her legal guardian after proving she abandoned our children, enough to show she's mentally incompetent. She's headed into a sedated detox program at a rehab center this week. The doctors warned the road to recovery will be long and uncertain. Thankfully, I hadn't canceled her life insurance, so her treatment is covered. I've offered to handle her finances, on the condition she doesn't know I'm involved. Not out of kindness, but because her recovery is crucial if our kids are ever to have a relationship with their mother, a sober, healthy version of her. I was terrified the men who attacked Kayla would target me and the kids, thinking I had the incriminating chat logs. Jack's friend Brandon, who benefited from those logs during his divorce, decided to deal with them. Brandon is an intimidating mountain of a man, raised on a farm, wrestling cattle, and lifting hay bales. Despite his scary appearance, tall enough to duck through doorways, a crew cut, scars from a childhood accident, he's patient and kind. He stormed into the attacker's apartment, grabbed them by the neck, and gave them two choices: go to the police and confess, or face him and suffer permanent injuries. They drove to the station as fast as they could. I've secured a new apartment and will be moving soon, with Jack's help. It's smaller than our family home, but has enough space for the kids and sits in a good school district. I've been slowly decorating their rooms, trying to create a safe, welcoming space despite everything. What keeps me going is my friends, family, and the need to stay strong for my kids. My heart still aches for Kayla. Despite it all, I don't regret marrying her. I still love who she was, but we can't go back. She isn't the person she used to be, and there's too much pain between us. We had a good life before this disaster. I wouldn't have my children without her, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. The pain will linger, but I hope I'm strong enough to endure it. Some days I doubt myself. Other days I see glimmers of a different future, one I didn't plan, but maybe still worthwhile. Strangely, learning about Kayla's addiction has helped my kids cope. It's easier to tell them, "Mommy is sick and needs time to get better," than to explain betrayal and abandonment. They've written her letters that I'm holding on to until she's stable enough to read them. Their resilience amazes me. Kids can adapt when they have proper support and honest, age-appropriate explanations. I'm sad and exhausted, but Brandon is here with his kids, and we're watching Madagascar 3 tonight. I'm trying to make as many good memories as possible amid the darkness. Our children seem to be doing better. They laugh more freely, and the nightmares have eased. I think we'll be okay, not today or tomorrow, but eventually. Thank you, everyone, for all your help and support. The kindness of strangers has been a lifeline during these darkest moments. Final update. Kayla passed away. She overdosed in rehab. Nobody knows how she got the drugs. One doctor speculated she swallowed a hidden bag that burst during detox, releasing a fatal dose all at once. I held our children as they sobbed, their small bodies shaking with grief. I couldn't calm them. How do you explain to children that their mother is never coming back, that this illness took her forever? I have no answers, only tears that won't stop. I won't be posting more or answering comments. Thank you to everyone who offered suggestions and support during this nightmare.